Today we're going to be talking to Joseph Lewis, who's been in the education industry for 43 years as a teacher, a coach, counselor, and administrator. He's published 7 books, and today his book that we're going to be featuring is called Betrayed. It won the Literary Titan Silver Book Award and an Author's Shout recommended read. So stay with us. When we come back, we have more Joseph Lewis and the man behind the book called Betrayed. Hello and welcome. If you just joined us, you are watching the Writer's Corner live show where we help you elevate engagement and relationships through the power of live video. I'm your host, Bridget Limbanda from Cape Town in South Africa, and today's stream is proudly made possible by StreamYard, Creative Edge, and Be Live Media, helping you brand yourself better with live video. If you want to know when we go live, then please go ahead and click on the follow button on Facebook. And on YouTube, please click on the notification and subscribe bell, and you will know when we go live. And today we are doing something absolutely amazing for the very, very first time. We are live on Amazon Live. So if you're watching us on Amazon Live, a huge, big warm welcome. If you're watching us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter as usual, also a hearty, warm welcome to you. Today, as I said earlier, we're going to be speaking to the amazing Joseph Lewis about his book, Betrayed. But first, I want to say a warm welcome to my friend and co-host, Mary Elizabeth Jackson. She's a special needs and disabilities advocate and also the award-winning author of the Poolicious children's book series. So as I mentioned, we are live on Amazon Live today, and please check out the links on Amazon to the Poolicious series as well as the CDs. Also available on Amazon is the book Betrayed by Joseph Lewis. And so with that, I'm going to say a hearty warm welcome to my co-host, Mary. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. How are you? I'm excited to be here today. I can't wait to talk to Joseph. He is one of our friends, and we have not seen him in a while. He's got a new book, and we're super excited to hear all about it.
Yes, absolutely am. And aren't you excited that we are streaming to Amazon Live?
Yes,
I am so excited that this is the very first time we are live on Amazon Live.
I know. I was just about to say that we want to say hi to everybody and thank you for joining us. And we're so excited to be here. We love adventure, right?
Absolutely. And I have not forgotten that we're also live on Twitch. So wherever you're watching us, a hearty, warm welcome to you. And so if you haven't met Joseph has been on the show before, but if you haven't met him, Joseph has been in the education industry for 43 years. That's a really long time.
It is.
I know, right? As a teacher, a coach, a counselor, and an administrator, so lots of experience there. So I want to ask him if that's helped him with his writing.
I know, I wonder. I think it has to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think teachers have got an unfair advantage, but we'll ask him about that, right? So he's published 7 books, and today we're going to be talking about his book Betrayed, which if you're watching on Amazon Live,
you can go buy the book.
Go buy the book. Go buy the book.
Yeah.
So this book has won the Literary Titan Silver Book Award and also the Author's Shout recommended read.
Mm.
Joseph was born and raised in Wisconsin in the USA, and he has been happily married to his wife Kim for 28 years. Joseph, you've got 2 years to catch up with me.
Ah,
I'll be married for 30 this year, and I'm in Cape
ah,
Town in South Africa, and Mary, you're in the USA. And don't we just
right.
love the power of live video? I mean, we're in different parts of the world, and this is how we connect every week on the Writers Corner live show.
No, it's fantastic. I love that we have this. And I'm getting ready to celebrate my 28th anniversary too, coming up in a couple weeks. So yay for all of us, right?
I know. And so Joseph's also got three children. His son Will um passed away in July 2014. So
Mhm.
we celebrate his life, and then also his other two children, Hannah and Emily. So shall we not waste any more time and get Joseph on the show, shall we?
Yes, let's bring him on. I love the trophy.
I don't know if I deserve it, but thank you.
I mean, you need the red carpet, people with fans fanning you,
Some confetti.
Yeah, throwing confetti, telling you how excited we are to see you today.
Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thank you
So,
for
I
having
mean,
me.
it's amazing. You've written a whopping 7 books, and you have won awards for your writing. Have you got a copy of the book Betrayed, so we can just hold it up and people can see what it is?
Sure.
So if people are watching on Amazon Live right now, that is what the book Betrayed looks like.
Right.
Go and grab that book. It is well worth a read. I'm going to start by asking you, what is your favorite passage in Betrayed?
Oh, wow. You know,
Is there such a thing?
I don't know
Yeah.
that there is. It's like who's your favorite child?
Oh, yeah,
So
true.
it's very similar to asking me which is my favorite book. I can say that from Taking Lives to Betrayed, from first to last, I think I've grown as a writer. I think I've gotten better as a writer. But honestly, I don't know that I have a favorite passage. There are parts throughout the book that have really meant a great deal to me and to some of my readers.
Mm.
Um, I think Stephen King's or somebody said that if there are no tears in the writer, there are no tears in the reader. And I think if
Mm.
there's no laughter in the writer, there's no laughter in the reader as well. Because if you are writing a meaningful book or meaningful passage, it's going to elicit emotions. And I try to do that. And a lot of it is unintentional. But I can tell you
Right.
that as I wrote Betrayed, there were portions that um, I did weep at. And there were
Mm.
times when I did laugh out loud. So it is I think it'll bring some emotion out in people.
So
That's good. Yeah.
do you have a favorite passage that you could read for us just as an
Sure,
introduction?
sure. Um, I'm going to start out by reading. When I write a book, I usually pick out a quote or two that summarizes what the book might be about.
Okay.
And the first one I chose was from Bob Marley. It says, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice." The second one is Svetlana M. Is courage doesn't mean you aren't afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. And then the last one is from Anne Scotland. It says, "In the solemnity of endings, we find hope in new beginnings." So the first two, talking about courage and fear and being strong, talks about the book as a whole. The last quote, "The solemnity of endings, we find hope in new beginnings," really talks about the end of a book. And I don't know who the author was, but someone somewhere along the line said that the best books have endings that lead into the next book.
Right.
And it's not necessarily a cliffhanger. It doesn't have to be a cliffhanger, but I think there has to be a need or a want on the reader's part to say, hey, what's next? Who's involved? What's going to happen? And I think you're going to find that in this particular book. The portion that I would like to read is really chapter 1. What I did was I took the very end of the book and I moved that to the very beginning of the book. And then the rest of the book then is told in retrospect, and it catches the reader up to present time.
Gotcha. I love that. Yeah.
So the first part is this. It was still, no breeze. The air, dead, smelled of red dirt and decay. A hawk circled overhead, cawed once, and glared at him. At least Brian thought it did. He wondered vaguely if it was an omen, a message from the spirit world George often talked about. A warning, perhaps. Fitting if it was, Brian thought. If they survived, he would ask him. He lay prone in the dirt and glanced behind him. Brett was not visible. That was good. He wanted his brother safely behind the big boulder, hidden. Brian wasn't afraid to die. He just didn't want to die. Not yet, anyway. 15 was too young. However, he made a promise to watch over George and Brett, and that he would do. If it came to it, he would protect his two brothers any way he could, including sacrificing his own life. The morning he made a promise, he didn't think much of it. George was independent, always had been. Brett was stubborn, yet Brian said he would do what he could, and though it wasn't exactly a promise, he had given his word, and he always kept his word. On the long trek to the mesa, Brian had thought about life and death. It was not the first time death had crossed his mind. He watched his twin brother die. Brad bled to death from multiple gunshot wounds and died in a stranger's arms. After his death, Brian's mother shot his father and then shot herself. Brian ended up alone. Alone except for Jeremy, who took him in and made him his son just like he did for 5 other boys. He knew death. It didn't scare him. He never worried about it. If it happened, it happened. However, he wasn't ready to die, and he didn't want to die. I'll leave it at that.
That's very
That
deep.
was amazing. That was amazing. Joseph,
Yeah.
is that completely fictional, or are there some elements of a real life story in there?
Honestly, I think if a writer is worth his salt, there's going to be situations and feelings that are going to bubble up to the surface as you put your fingers to the keyboard. When my son passed away in 2014, there were similar thoughts that I had. What could have happened, differently. If he was 30 seconds, maybe a minute or two later than walking on the street that he was walking on, he would not have died. So I think what happens to a writer is that there are situations and elements that are in one's personality and in one's heart. And I think that's what comes out on the page.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, when you're writing your book, it's a process. It's so therapeutic for writers. And so there's just, I don't know how you would write in part of your life not come out on the paper.
I agree with you.
Because there's a lot of healing that happens. And we tend, I think, as a writer, I think we tend to write about things from experiences that we've had, right? Mm-hmm. And even we actually will work out issues in our life that we couldn't work out with the person. You can work them out through the story, right?
Yes.
And have it go the way you would like to have seen it, or how it should have gone, or how, would have been the best way for it to go, or maybe even an alternate outcome for yourself.
Yes.
And whoever was involved. So I think it's really great that we're allowed, that we are able to pull all of that in when we are writing. And so it creates more of the depth that's there in someone's writing, and you can see. So when we go and read, this book. Now, you had referred to something before, and that was one of the questions I had for you. Is this going to be a series? Is it part of a series?
Very much like James Patterson, he takes Alex Cross and he moves him into another situation, another adventure, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Each of my books have most of the same characters in them.
Okay.
This just happens to be Brian's story, what's happening with him. And the other kids and the cops that are involved are in the story, but it just moves everything further from Caught in a Web, especially, and Spiral into Darkness. Those are the last 3 books that I had written. It moves the situations further. And the one that's coming out in January 6th of 22, called Blaze In, Blaze Out, is going to be more cops than kids, but it still moves those characters forward. So the answer to that is a yes, no. It is.
I was wondering, yeah.
It's not necessarily a part of a series, but it might be well worth your while to read Caught in a Web, Spiral, and then Betrayed in that order. Although I've had other people just read it as a standalone and like it just as well.
Oh, that's good, though. That's really good that you've been able to accomplish that. And do you want to continue with these characters, or do you see maybe one more book and then you're going to go on to something else, or have you figured that out?
I honestly have not figured that out yet. I really like the characters that I have. I really enjoy them. I have people telling me that they hear them talk, they see them in action, they're real to them. That's a heck of a compliment for a writer. And to me, they're just as real, and I hear them talking. And so when I have a situation in front of me, and I put someone in that situation, it's kind of fun to see how they're going to react, or what are the possibilities of the different reactions that character might have. So I haven't figured that out yet. That's a good question, Mary.
You're welcome. Yeah, you have to let us know when you figure it out, that we'll be interested.
Will do.
So what was it that sparked this particular book? Why did you want to write this book?
George is one of the brothers, and he's a full-blooded Navajo boy. And in the Lives Trilogy, Taking Lives, Stolen Lives, Shattered Lives, and Splintered Lives, George came forward when he witnessed a killing of a young boy, his age. As a result of that, there was some revenge, and his family was killed. And the people doing the killing thought that when they had killed his brother, that they were killing George, but George was off part of the story. What I wanted to do is I wanted to bring George back to his stomping grounds. This particular book takes place on the Navajo Nation reservation in in northeastern Arizona. That's where he grew up for 12 of his years. And I wanted to bring that back. I really like that setting. I like the Native American belief, especially the Navajo, their culture. I wanted to incorporate that in the book, which I believe I did. So that was really the impetus for the setting. The story, honestly, just came about with, and the tagline for the book is a late night phone call, a missing kid, a murdered family, and no one is willing to talk. And that's kind of how I came up with the story itself, using those 4 lines. So I just kind of built the story from there. It started out, when I wrote it, George's story, but it quickly became Brian's story because he had a number of things to work out, as you could tell from the little passage that I had read.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is amazing.
We're
going to take a very quick break. And when we come back, I want to find out, how do you find the time to write such amazing books, considering your schedule in education?
Okay.
And welcome back, everyone. Wherever you're watching us, welcome to our audience that is watching us on Amazon Live. A special welcome to you all because it's the first time we're live on Amazon Live. And just a reminder that we've put the links on Amazon Live to the book Betrayal and also Mary's books, the Poolicious children's book series. So please go and buy the books, check them out, give them as a gift to someone. And again, a warm welcome, whether you're watching us on Twitch, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. A warm welcome to everyone. Joseph, please tell us, how do you find the time to write? How do you block off time? When is your best time to write? And who is your greatest supporter when it comes to your writing?
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I retired from education basically full time in June. And so I am now just part-time, and I facilitate online learning for a different high school. So I do have quite a bit of time, but it was never a matter of me carving out time to write. It was one of those things that I feel I needed to write. I wanted to write. So it's something I look forward to. My wife is a runner, jogger. She does CrossFit and things like that. That's her compulsion. That's what she wants to do. That's her energy, her release. My writing is really the same for me. And I would write after dinner for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I would try to write a chapter a night. I would always start by reading the previous night's work. And that what I do there is I'm reading it for two things. The editing that I can do as I'm reading it and writing it, but also it puts me in the setting, the mood, the character for what I'm going to be writing next. So that's kind of my routine. I try to write every night. My wife, I think, is the best, my biggest supporter. My daughter Emily is really my first eyes. I bounce ideas off her because she has really good insight. But I think that's kind of what I do. There are some writers that like to go off in a quiet room by themselves or whatever. That isn't me. I sit at the kitchen table with all the noise. The TV's on, the dogs are playing. Kim and I will converse as I write. I just need that noise, and I need to be around people. So that's kind of my writing routine, and that's what I try to do every night.
That's amazing. You know what? So we were wondering, what in your life has influenced what you do, like how much being an educator influences your writing. But that's part of it right there, because as an educator, you've had to learn to multitask. And you've had to learn to work around others and to work with lots of noise, kind of like toddlers running around. So it's interesting. That is your writing style. I mean, because I get posed that question as well, Joseph. And you hear people talk about they want to write and everything, except for the fact that they're waiting for that perfect moment and that perfect place to write. And you've got the ocean in the background, you got the mountains and the waterfall in the background. And so what I always say is you really have to take whatever space you have, and you have to use that time when you have it, to work in whatever environment you have. And sometimes that means learning to tune out. I mean, I have kids, so sometimes I can write when they're around. Sometimes I have to go up into my office and have that solid piece to be able to focus. But the other question I have for you is: are you is Native American in your heritage, or are you just have a love for their culture? Because I understand what you're talking about and their belief systems and things, and they are much more their belief systems, I think, are much more grounded than what a lot of us have grown up with in America.
Yes.
So I wonder if that was kind of
I developed a love for the Navajo people by reading Tony Hillerman books. His was very simple mysteries. There were 2, 3, 4 characters. He had a couple of favorite characters, Jim Chi and Leaphorn, who were his detectives, his cops. And that's how I started my love for the Navajo, because he always threw in culture, the spirituality, the feeling that Mother Earth and things like that. So that's kind of where I got that. you know, as a teacher, as an administrator, when I'm standing in the hallways, when I'm at events, I'm listening to kids talk, and I'm listening to them talk to each other. I'm watching their interactions, their facial expressions, their mannerisms. All that is thrown into my writing. So I think that has helped a great deal. You're very much right. There are some times when I come to a very particular passage that I really need to concentrate on, so I will go off by myself. My wife gave me earphones that I can use that will cut down noise and things like that. But it's by and large, I write where there's noise, and I write where there's people.
Awesome. That's great.
Joseph, I cannot believe the time goes by so very, very quickly. And so I can't believe we're almost at the end of the show. So I want to find out from you, how can people connect with you? What are the best channels to do that, and where they can buy your book? We know that's on Amazon. Is it available anywhere else?
Yes, Barnes and Noble. They would just Google Joseph Lewis or Betrayed, and they should be able to come up with that connection. I'm on Twitter at J.R. Lewis Author. I have a writer's blog for tips, interviews, things like that. I introduce characters, and I do a little bit of reading, and that is jrlewisauthor.blog, www.jrlewisauthor.blog. I'm on Facebook, Facebook.com/joseph.lewis.author. They can find me those ways as well.
It's so much to remember, isn't it, Joseph? All these titles and addresses, and it's like, oh my word. And then keeping up with all of it. So do you have what is your age, the genre, the age for the book? You know, is there a recommendation, or are you finding there is a different age than you expected that are your biggest fans?
You know, that is an interesting question, because originally when I wrote it, I didn't really have an age group in mind, because it's thriller, mystery, crime, and Betrayed actually a month, not even a month ago, hit #1 on Amazon for traditional detective, and so I've never been that high before, and so that was just absolutely remarkable.
Yay.
And I've had kids as young as 13, 14, 15 read it. I have a fan base that's 65 or over. So it's really everybody. It's everybody in between.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That is fantastic. Hey, congratulations. Congratulations on the #1 status. That is awesome. So you just add that to your title too.
I thought about that. I don't. I know my publisher is really excited about it.
Yes, absolutely. I know he is. So, well, we're so excited to have you here, and you just have to keep us posted on your journey. We keep eyes on it as well, and we'll have you come back on your next book, and maybe you can join us this summer for our author get together and our celebration of 3 years of our show. We're so looking forward to that. We love all our author friends, and you know, if you're a reader and you're looking for a new author, go to Writers Corner Live Show TV group on Facebook, and you can find authors there. And a lot of times they post when they have their books for sale or running a sale or their new releases. And, you know, you can communicate with authors there, because if you post a question, they'll answer you, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to have to say goodbye to all of you, amazing people watching us on all the different social media channels. And Joseph, thank you so much. It was fantastic having you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoy this. Thank you.
Good. Thank you,
Pleasure.
Joseph. Have a blessed
Bye,
week.
everyone.
Blessed week. Bye.
You too. Bye now.